they say the pen is mightier than the sword. Hey! We're going to take a look inside the Pen Company of America, who makes over hundreds of millions of pen components a year, the #1 in USA, and find out how they make them, how they mold them, how they sell them, how they distribute them when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mind Your Business. We're at the Pen Company of America in Garwood, New Jersey, and we're going to take a look at how they manufacture, how they distribute, sell over 200-300 million pen components a year. And we're with Hap Shea. Hap Shea is, I guess you've been in the business for a while, and your grandfather...
50 years.
50 years he's been in the business, and your grandfather, talk about how he started the company. And how it all began.
Yeah, my grandfather started in 1924 in New York City. The main thing they made for many years was the fountain pen points for the old fountain pens there. First they were made by hand because they were gold until stainless steel became available. And this is...
Here's a machine. This is a machine, what, over 75, 80 years?
Yeah, this is a scale that they used to weigh out the points in, or the nibs as we called them. They'd count out 144 on one side and then fill the other one up till it balanced, put them in a little box and seal it, and then keep doing it. And that's how they weighed out and packaged the fountain pen points that they sold.
That's amazing. From fountain pens to ballpoint
points.
pens.
Yeah, well, that was my father. He was a pilot during the war. And after the war, and he got out of the Air Force, he started selling and making fountain pens, and then when the ball pen became practical, he decided to get into manufacturing parts for ballpoint pens. It was very different from the fountain pen because the fountain pen was functional. I mean, the fountain pen today doesn't look much different than it did when my grandfather made the nibs.
Right.
But the ball pen, the refill writes, so you can do anything you want with it. And he started with one molding machine in a garage in Jersey City.
Really?
Yeah, making parts, and that's what he did for really the time that he and his two brothers ran the business. They sold parts, plastic molded parts, to the pen industry, mostly advertising specialty. The customers then, our customers, assembled them, decorated them, and sold them. And we sold, obviously literally millions of pen parts in the course of those years. Then when
so your grandfather, your father, and now you,
and when I came in with three of my
we're going to meet Colleen,
kids,
Matt, and Greg.
We realized that we really had to expand more out of just the parts, because the competition with cheap imported pens, mainly from China, to be able to compete with them, we really had to sell the completed pen. So we started selling completed pens to be able to compete. Our customers really were not interested in making pens. They wanted to decorate them and sell them. And so we got into finished pens. We picked up a company in Florida that had a whole line of ballpoint pens. We bought them, and so we had pretty much a nice line of ballpoint pens. And now we not only still sell some parts, we sell completed pens, we decorate them, we screen print them, we sell pencils, we sell markers.
You just acquired a pencil company?
Yeah, we acquired
all
a pencil
made in
company.
the USA, right?
All the molding and everything is made in the USA. On there, we don't make the pencils; we just decorate them. We buy the pencils on there, and but the pens are all made and assembled right here in the United States. The refills are all bought from a company in California there. So it's, I'm sure you'll show them later, where
we're going to take a look at all that.
We make the parts, we put them together over there, we decorate them, and we sell them.
That's great, Hap. It's a pleasure meeting you,
Okay.
and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the factory. We'll
Okay.
be right back, and we're going to take a look at the tool room next. We're with Matt Shea. Matt Shea really is, first of all, he's a big-time lawyer.
How about big time? But
No, but he runs the tool shop here that he's going to give us a little idea of what goes on and how you not only make your own mold, makes their molds here and the components, but what is the tool? What goes on here, Matt?
yeah, sure. We have our tool room basically maintains and builds component parts for our molds. Our molds basically are the backbone of the company, which is we mold all our plastic parts in-house in New Jersey. We have all of our molds are maintained by our tool maker in this shop. So he basically, if something breaks on the molds, when you're molding millions and hundreds of millions of parts, things break. And so our tool maker will come in, if a piece breaks, he'll tool up a new piece out of steel and using these machines, and he'll put them back together and get us going again.
Right, so that's a great help as far as downtime so you can get it up and running again. What other advantages of actually? It's unique. A lot of factories sometimes sub that out, but you do it right here. What advantages do you
I
have?
think one of the big things is enable us to change and make new stuff, and experiment a lot. So what we try and do is we take molds, and we'll have a mold that we've used for 20 or 30 years, and we'll make a change to it ourselves and tweak it and try and see what, a little change here to make it look a little different than it was. You basically make what old is new again, and
Right.
basically we do that a lot.
Constant improvement.
Yeah, and it also enables us to keep refreshing our product line.
Great. Matt is also, so when I started out with the sword, I said they say that the pen is mightier than the sword, but as a lawyer, what would when is that not true? In an alley, dark alley, is a pen better? Or
When you're getting sued.
It's better the pen, right?
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a look at the molding room and see it in action. Okay, we've entered the molding room. And if you notice, I have to wear the glasses. He's got special high-tech glasses that are miniaturized. But tell us, what are we looking at right now?
So this is our injection molding room. Basically, we have 11 injection molding machines, soon to be 12. This is where we mold all the plastic parts for all our pens.
It's amazing. What is this one right here, the one that's the green one?
So they vary in size, basically, depending upon how big a part you're molding. We have anywhere from a 120-ton machine to a 320-ton machine at the end.
So so it's all about how is the molding work? It compacts.
Right, so tonnage really talks about how much pressure you put on it to hold the mold together. So 120 tons can put 120 tons of pressure on to keep it closed as you inject the plastic in to make the part.
So I'd like to see how that works. How you inject the plastic into that mold with
Sure.
that kind of weight, and
Love
that's
to show
really
you.
interesting.
Yeah.
Matt's going to show us how they take the plastic, suck it up through the vacuum here, and tie it into the coloring, and the whole process of how this injection molding works.
Yeah, sure. So basically, injection molding 101, it's pretty basic, but you take clear plastic, in this case, and mix it with colorant, whatever color you need. Basically you have it's like mixing paints. Take the colored plastic and clear plastic, we mix it together. It's sucked up into a mixing unit, which is here, in different ratios, depending on how much colorant you need. It then goes through a screw, and the screw is heated. There's heaters on here that melts the plastic and compresses the plastic, making it even hotter. It basically becomes a liquid, which is then injected into the machine. It goes through into the mold. The mold basically has shaped parts in it. The plastic's pushed into the mold, fills the plastic parts. It then cools briefly, and then it opens up and ejects the parts, and it starts all over again.
Wow. How much pressure is used in this mold alone?
So this molding machine, it's under about 150 tons of pressure.
To get that to the point where...
Yeah, so basically to hold it together, in order to inject the material, you have to inject, it's 150 tons of clamping pressure.
To get the whole mold filled in all the little...
Yep, you got to be able to fill every piece in the mold, depending on how big the mold is. That's why you have bigger machines. Some pieces are really big and need bigger machines. Some pieces are smaller and don't need as big a machine.
That's really cool. I want the audience to learn about the molds themselves. Like you have cavities from like 4 cavity molds to 120. Explain how that works.
Yeah, so each mold basically molds a certain number of parts every time it closes and opens. So Every time that you run, we call it a shot, and every time you do it, you're creating a certain number of parts. Each mold has anywhere, like our molds go from 4 cavities, so it makes 4 parts every time it closes, up to 120 for some smaller parts we make. And really, what that determines is how many you can make a day. So we can make anywhere from, say, 10,000 a day on our smallest molds, up to 500,000 a day on our biggest.
$500,000 a day.
$500,000 a day
That's
on our
awesome.
biggest. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a look at some assembly line right now, and how we takes from the mold position now to printing and assembling the product, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
All right, we're in the assembly plant and printing division of Pen Company of America, and we're with Greg Shea. Greg, it's good to see you.
Very good seeing you.
Welcome to the family. Greg is actually a high-tech security. How do you say that?
I was a former counterterrorism analyst.
Former counterterrorism analyst. So don't mess around. Don't even try to break into this factory.
Exactly.
Maybe that's so anyway, talk about what happens when we go from the molding with the pens and the components, and it comes to the assembly. What goes on here?
Sure, so this is our assembly department. Each machine is set to make one of our pen styles. And they have different feeders where they'll put in all of the different components, the barrels, the caps, the tips, and the machine will go through and it'll assemble each pen. It'll make anywhere from 8,000 in a shift all the way to some high speed that makes 20,000 in one shift.
20,000, how long is a shift?
8 hours.
8 hours, 20,000.
Yeah, so we can do 60,000 a day on some of them. So.
How do you compete and differentiate yourself from overseas manufacturing, and what's the uniqueness about being here, assembling the product here?
There's a few different aspects to it. Some companies are committed to buying U.S. manufactured goods, so they'll specifically seek us out because they want a USA-made pen option. For other cases, it's expediency and speed. They need a quick turnaround time. They can't wait for a shipment to come in from China or India, so they'll purchase from us.
The time frame, what is that, like a week compared to like, it could be a month overseas, right?
Right, where we see a lot of business come our way are larger orders where they have, they need a fast turnaround time. So they might need 100,000 pens, but they need it in 2 or 3 weeks.
True, right.
And that's very hard to do from overseas because of the shipping time and everything.
Right.
For us, since we make everything here, we can get the molds in to run it, we can assemble it and get it out the door within a few weeks.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
What else is unique about the assembly line here, that what they're doing and how they put this all together?
Well, it gives us, we have a lot of flexibility being done here. So a customer will call and they'll need, instead of a traditional, say, white with black cap, they'll want a black cap or black barrel with an orange cap, something unique, a non-standard thing.
Right.
Since it's all being assembled here, all we need to do is take the different components and then we can run all different combos.
So you can customize to every
It's a lot
customer
easier
like
for
that.
us
You
to
can't do
customize.
that in big jobs overseas, right?
They just won't do it. It doesn't make sense for them to do 1,000 pieces with a
Right,
custom
sure.
color combination.
Right.
So.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to show that you're going to show me the printing part too, which is short.
Yeah,
right?
we'll go
Can we take a
over
look
the
at that?
screen printing,
Oh,
yep.
we're going to look at the printing right now. Here's one of the assembly machines, the USA assembly machine. Explain about this machine itself.
Sure, so this is called the walking beam machine, and what it does is it drops the barrel in, and it moves it down the line, walks it down the line. Here's where it puts in the pen refill, the writing cartridge.
Right there, right?
Then in here, it puts together the ratchet, plunger, and cap. You can see it puts it all together. And this machine actually has a check station, so it's actually going to click the pens, make sure that it works properly. If it doesn't work properly, it'll actually kick it out here.
It does, really. It knows that.
And then Teresa will go through, she'll check it, make sure. Sometimes it still works, it's just got a false negative on it. She'll go through and check it, goes down the line. These pens are actually bagged in bags of 50, so it'll actually drop it at the end of the line after 50 pens, so she knows to grab them, put them in a bag, and then package them to be shipped out.
Right. I'm liking the. I feel like I could.
Very rhythmic.
Yes, very
Yeah, yeah.
rhythmic, very relaxing. All right, we'll go on to the next part.
Okay.
The Pen Company of America acquired a pencil company, and this is just some of the printing they do. Greg, anything specific?
Right, so this is screen printing. So basically you take an ad copy, you burn it into this screen, then you put it into the machine, has the ink, and it pushes it through the mesh, just like how they do t-shirt printing and like. It's a very similar concept. This is done a lot for schools, businesses, for promotional purposes. giveaways and the like. And it's single color screen print, goes all the way around.
That's awesome. How long does it take to dry? It dries immediately?
Dries right through, goes through, this is
Oh,
a
through a
heating
heat?
chamber, and then it'll go through there, it'll dry, and it'll be perfectly fine on the other end,
Very
ready
cool.
to ship out.
Hey, Greg, thank you. That's awesome.
Hey, Barry, thank you.
It's
Appreciate
a great
you coming.
interview, great tour. We'll go right now. We're going to take a look at how, after they print it and assemble it, how do they sell this stuff? How do they distribute it? Okay?
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Welcome back. This is Mind Your Business, and we're with Colleen Shea, and we got to take a look at the tooling room, then we went to the molding, then we went to the assembly and printing, and now we are here with what we call the final product, where we made the final product from all these different pens, and that's what I'd love to get into. I want to talk about not just how you market these, but how you select them when they come in to differentiate yourself from other companies out there, and talk about the process in the beginning.
So basically, it's been in my family, as my dad has explained, since the 1920s. So we had a solid base, but we've had to diversify with the influx of imports that started coming in the 80s. And so what we did is we really found our niche business in terms of doing custom colors in small quantities, small runs with quick turnaround. Those are things you can't get from the imports.
That's one way to differentiate, the quick turnaround and the quality too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then we also look for unique products to do that they haven't seen before. We have a couple unique items.
Talk about the RevMark, which is that's a cool item.
Yeah, so the RevMark, we actually had a contractor call us with an idea, and believe it or not, I get calls. One call every couple of weeks with somebody who has the latest and greatest in pens, and I listen to them. But this contractor pitched this idea of a marker that actually clips onto a tool belt or in a pocket, so that contractors, construction workers, electricians, plumbers don't have to stop what they're doing to find their marker, uncap their marker. It just clips on, it stays in their pocket. They take it out, make their marks on a 2x4,
And they put
it back in.
Right. Easy.
Easy. The performance of the marker is exceptional, and we've heard a lot of great feedback. We're in some major stores nationwide, including Tractor Supply.
Wow. See, that's key, is the quality of the pen. It's got to write. It's got to perform.
Yes.
So I think you've got that down, that we've seen in your factory and the way you do that. And then you differentiate by a patented technology that separates you and protects you.
Absolutely. I mean, we made this just not another marker. It has an industrial tip. It has 72-hour cap-off performance. So if you forget to put your cap on, 72 hours later, it's still going to write.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we made this for industrial usage. We just didn't throw a craft marker out there and throw a nice fancy cap on it.
Right.
So
That's great. So that's just one of them. But your big business, you do hundreds of millions of pens and pen components a year, is done in the promotional industry. Is that correct? Or tell us about the different markets you're in.
So yeah, a large portion, about 60% of our stuff, goes to promotional products, and it goes to everything. We do as few as 2 pens for customers.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And our biggest customers are millions and millions of pens a year. And it runs the gamut, 2 pens, 500, 1,000. In all different markets and segments. We have a variety of different pens they use, and all our stuff is USA made.
Right.
And we have definitely seen a resurgence in the last couple of years of people, individuals, and major corporations searching out USA made product.
And you're the #1 in the country.
When it comes to a full line of pens, plastic pens made in the US, we're pretty much it.
And what else is here? So there are some that you have Snifty that smell like popcorn and candy.
Yeah, actually that one right there.
one?
This one
This
is
one?
smells like watermelon.
Yeah,
If you want
boy.
to take a sniff.
You can eat that pen.
Yeah.
Now,
So
how does
yeah.
that work? How does...
So basically, we get plastic that has oils infused in the plastic, so the plastic is scented, and then we injection mold the plastic with the scent in the plastic.
That's cool.
So these 2 components right here have scent embedded in them. and as air passes through it, it releases the scent. So we have a retail line of these pens under the Snifty brand that goes to tween stores and different, stores
I
and
can see
locations.
kids going nuts over the cotton candy one. And you have also, obviously, these funny-looking flat pens.
Yes, which have increased in popularity recently. So again, a great promotional tool. We do them for everything from this is a local college that's doing it for its anniversary to this is a bed and breakfast, this is an author. I mean, people just find uses for it to promote their products, and it's got
It's
great
like a
service.
billboard for printing, right? So you print here too, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's a unique product. It's not out there. This is a unique product. Not everybody has it. So is this. So it really differentiates us from the others.
right.
And the fact that it's made here in the U.S., our average turnaround time on most orders is 3 to 5 business days.
That's crazy.
Yeah, up to 5,000 pieces will turn in about 3 to 5 business days. So if you need something quick, in a hurry, in a rush, we're the people they turn to.
I love that. The quick turnaround time, quality. We saw what you do in manufacturing and the whole, having everything here so you have hands-on. What are the key components that you feel are important that you can have all the great products, but if you don't have a relationship,
Right.
what do you do to keep the relationship strong with your clients?
What we found that works the best is more of a partnership versus a traditional customer-vendor
Explain that,
relationship.
if you could.
We had a major Fortune 100 company want a new pen product, and the distributor came in here to see me and talk to me about it, and I said, well, why don't you invite them in and let me show them how it's done, and then we can sit down and develop together a pen for their campaign.
Yep.
And so around the Saturday after Thanksgiving, it's called Shop Small Saturday, and we do all the pens for that
Wow.
for that that campaign for that customer. And that customer came into this building. We listened to what they wanted, and because we have the tooling area and Billy on staff, we were able to actually design a custom pen for them for that campaign.
I love that. I always said, and people laugh, nobody's ever listened themselves out of a sale. But you find salespeople who just talk and talk, think they can pitch, but what you did is really brilliant to get a partnership. They have ownership, they felt comfortable. That's great. Any other things that you do? That's a great example. But other things about the relationship you have with customers so that this process can be easier when it's distributed out there.
I mean, a lot of the things we do too is I know for our customers and our distributors, the 500 piece order is just as important to them as the 50,000 piece order. So to make sure that we give the service for the 500 piece orders just as well as we give for the 50,000 piece orders is really important to this, because you never know where your next big customer is going to come
Right,
from.
Yep. Whether it's 2 or 2 million.
Yeah,
right?
you really don't. So to make sure that people know that we care about each and every order that goes out this door, no matter how big or how small.
Right. Explain to me the promotional industry, because it seems like hotels. What are the top 3 industries you sell to?
We sell a lot into banks. I mean,
Banks.
banks give away a lot of pens. Hotel chains. We do a lot of the major hotel chains, special colors, which is something else that makes us unique in our ability to do special color matches very quickly for low minimums. And then we also do a lot of work for unions. I mean, unions are looking for USA
Really?
made product.
Oh,
And
right.
when they want a USA made pen, they come to us to make it.
Made in the USA. So promotional products is huge, and you have a lot of different distribution
Yep.
segues for that.
Yep.
Retail?
Yeah, we do retail too. So besides the RevMark, which is going into retail, those are going to small, mom and pop, hardware stores, as well as some of the big box stores. We have a couple different websites, MakeMyPen.com, which allows us people to go on and customize.
From 2 pens to 200, doesn't matter.
Doesn't
right?
matter. They can go on and customize it. They can see a visualization of the pen right there on the screen. They can design it themselves. They get part of the process, which they really enjoy,
That's very
become
cool.
creative. And then we do some other different things which are unique. We actually make surgical markers
Really, for hospitals? For
skin markers. When you go in for surgery and they have to mark your skin, we mold the plastic components probably to the tune of about 30 million a year
30 million of them? Wow.
that go to medical supply houses who assemble them and sterilize them and then ship them out to the hospitals.
Wow. You know what's interesting is obviously you're brilliant the way you market yourself as a differentiating factor, being made in the USA and all the other things as far as turnaround time. But what about like going out there and presenting, somebody comes in and says, you know what, I have a great idea. I can show them a pen that's going to, you see Shark Tank, you see all the different things, and people come to you. I know that you're the head person there. You're the head of Shark Tank, right? You look at these products. What are some key things that you would think people need to do to be effective in presenting something new or an idea to you that you would pick? What does it have to have?
It has to have a demand for it. I mean, I have to see that there's some type of demand, and it's different than anything else on the market. I mean, there are tons of markers out on the market, right? And there's some really big name ones too on the market with a lot of brand recognition. But there was something about that RevMark cap that just caught my attention that I'm like, yes, I know there's a need for that. And I started talking to contractors and electricians, and they said, oh my gosh, that it's so simple, but yet so brilliant at the same time. You see people taking a marker cap off with their teeth when they don't have their hands available, and this allows them not to do that. Or, they're trying to get a project done, and they're like, where did I put my marker? It was so simple in its concept, but it really has its place. So that's, when people really think through their idea and come to me and say, hey, I know a target marker for this, and I believe in it. That's kind of when we look at
And they
new
did their
product.
homework. You did your homework by going out to the people that might use it, but also they did their homework and they're knowledgeable, but it solved the problem, a major
it did.
problem. Yeah, there was a need for it.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
What is your definition? Your great grandfather started this, right? Okay, then your grandfather, your father. We talked to in the beginning. I think it's amazing, and I've known you for a while, and you get along great with your family.
Yes.
In a family business, that's very rare. What are the secrets to that, and what's your definition of success after all this time? Not a lot of time for you, but for your great grandfather.
The first secret is that we don't see each other on the weekends.
Oh,
So
that's
that's the first secret. Honestly, we all each have our own skill set and things that we're good at. We all left the company business, I think, as you said, that you mentioned. My brother Matt was a lawyer, and he brings that back to the table. He went out, he did his own thing, he learned things, and he brought it back to the pen company. Greg worked for the intelligence agency, went and did his own thing, came back, and we all seem to come back. I was a professional tap dancer, as
yes,
you may
you were.
know.
I was going to bring that up.
So, I took my ability to be in front of people and talk to people, and I brought that back too.
That's
and
under pressure, absolutely.
And so we all brought back this unique skill set individually, and we all recognize we each have our own individual talents. I don't go try to run the molding facility because I probably wouldn't be very good at it. So I let my brother do what he does best and let him go out there and do that. And I respect what he does, and he respects what I do, and I think that's kind of how it works. And we have fun, honestly. We laugh a lot. We have fun.
That's the secret of your success. You have fun. I see
we
you
do.
have fun. Yes. Colleen, it's really thank you so much for the tour.
problem.
And for your whole family giving us an insight into something that's special that nobody even realizes how big you are in the USA. It's a tremendous thing, Pen Company of America. And to what Colleen say, this is Barry Farber, Colleen Shea, thank you. And remember, life is like a grindstone. It either grinds you down or it polishes you up. It's all how you look at it. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.